That's good. That's good. That's good. Can you speak in it?
I can talk
Brilliant.
in the growl.
That's very much Venom-esque, I think. Right.
We are Venom.
Listen, Sony, pay me, like, call me. I'm here. Do you get me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whispers and
Growls.
That was good. That was good. Thank you very much. I'm gonna be so happy. At the end of the year, I'm just gonna do a little collection of the different growls
facts.
I've had. Yeah. Today I have with me a special guest. This is Zoka, the author. He is a rapper from East London, and yeah, good to have you here. We're gonna go through a little bit of, I guess, some intersectionality because as a voice actor, I think we can learn a lot from rappers, especially one who writes his own stuff. Because, you know, if you guys don't know, there's a struggle of reading things that aren't necessarily made to be read, right? And if you're a poet, if you're someone who does both, I think you can learn a lot from rappers, musicians, and someone like Zoka being a rapper, musician, storyteller, writer, all this packaged into him, right? We can definitely learn a lot. So I thought it'd be cool if we had him here. What's up, Zoka? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Brilliant. Before we carry on, can you tell me where the name comes from?
So the name Zoka is a shortened version of my surname, which is Uzoka. It's a Nigerian name, Igbo name, Uzoka. So I just took the U off. So Zoka, it's just it rolls off the tongue, as you were saying, you know.
Nigerian, man. Have you ever been?
I have not yet been. I would like to go. And a lot of my album that I'm working on actually is to do with, you know, coming from Nigeria and returning and migration and all those themes. So I think it'd be cool as part of that exploratory process to go back to Nigeria.
I see. So you write your own stuff?
Yes.
Which is brilliant. I think that's slowly becoming rarer and rarer. Not that there's something wrong with it. No, don't come fight me.
A rapper with a ghostwriter? What the happens?
Right. So you know how to write lyrics,
yes, sir,
and words specifically to be spoken out, not just to live in the imagination, right? Can you explain to us a little bit of your process when it comes to writing things and performing them?
I think, first of all, my process is very much therapeutic above all else. So it's very much about capturing a feeling, an emotion. I generally let the music lead me, and I will sort of mumble to myself and see sort of what flows are coming out and what words are coming to me, and that will generally dictate the thematic direction of the song. But I'm very intentional with that direction. So once I've chosen, like, okay, this is what the song is going to be about, I'll make sure to pick metaphors and similes and general images that all link back to this theme, this central theme. I'm quite particular about that. A lot of rappers will sort of just add punchlines that have double meanings just kind of for the sake of it. I think one thing that sort of sets me apart is that I will make sure that if there's a double meaning, that both meanings still link back to the central theme of the song, rather than the second meaning just being a double meaning just for the sake of it, you know? So there's a lot of that goes into it. And then it's about taking people in a journey. Once I've sort of written it, I'll sort of sit with it, see how it makes me feel, and then think, can someone else maybe get something out of this? And that's when I'll think, okay, maybe this is going to come out. So I guess that's my writing process.
And when you write lyrics, are there some kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like category of words that you stay away from? For example, I can't imagine anyone rhyming statistically.
Statistically.
Right? Do you know what I mean? In a word, I don't think it's a pleasant word.
You know what? You're not wrong. I think there's certain words that it's particularly words that have a lot of consonants right next to each other. Okay. So statistically, right? It's not impossible, with that said, and depending on the flow pattern that you're going with, you can make it work, you know, like you can break the word apart statistically, like, do you know what I mean? Like as soon as you break that up over the bar, so statistically, for example, then you could rhyme it with, I don't know, tickling or whatever else comes. I'm not great off the dome, but you get the point. Do you know what I mean? So once you sort of break it up, you can still do it. But I do sort of try and stay away from things that don't quite roll off the tongue too easily.
I see.
Because if it doesn't roll off the tongue too easily, as I said, I try and break it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is if I can't say it, how is a crowd going to sing it back to me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
That's such a cool thing. How is a crowd going to sing it back to me?
Yeah, you get it.
As in you being on stage and knowing that people are about to say your lyrics back to you.
There's no
That's
feeling
crazy.
like it, man. It's amazing.
I hear that. I hear that. Very quickly, let's see. Can you, I don't know, you say you're not good off the dome, but at the same time, I want to challenge you a little bit.
Go
Do you think you can give us like a 2-bar? I don't know how you rappers be talking, your lingo. How can we make statistically work in a rhyme in a bar? Yeah, help me.
So it would be something like, better than most statistically, better stick around, better stick with me. Them man's punchlines, they tickle me. I could do with the stick.
Okay, do it again, but explain to me the entire thinking process, but audibly. Be like, okay, we could have this, that, and then if I think about this, like do that.
Cool. So I guess the thought process around it was just, first of all, I was just thinking of word association. Okay, what rhymes with statistically? Is that, well, specifically, I broke up the word into sort of 2 parts, and then the rhyming part was the ticker. So tickly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was tistically. That's right, tistically, right? So I took the tistically part and I started rhyming that, and then that from what immediately came to my head was tickle me. So just using a stuttering process to make a word rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, or repetition as well. So stick with me, right? So worth the wait if you stick with me, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last bar that I thought was like a tick and ding, which I don't know, reminded me of like it's just like an
onomatopoeia.
There we go, onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia, right? So tick and ding is onomatopoeic. Oh my god, that's another hard word to do. But anyway, don't challenge me. I'll do it as well.
Yeah.
The point is, and those, I like to end bars with onomatopoeic sort of rhymes because it tends to be like a good payoff. So if you think like gigs, Batman, dun-dun-dun-dun, is an example, right? Like that always goes off. Because yeah, like it's kind of funny, it's playful. So yeah, and then okay, once I had those words, it's like, okay, how do I make those sort of work within a rap environment, right? Like hip hop is just inherently quite braggadocious. So better than most statistically, better wait on man, better stick with me. Them man's bars, they tickle me, dropping bombs like it's tick and ding.
Hey,
Something like that.
okay. The word was statistically.
Yes.
Statistically.
Yes.
I don't like that word. In fact, that you pulled it out, or you pulled it off. I set the challenge and I'm even struggling with the word. Yeah, fam. Those are tongue twisters, man. Do you do any practices to help you get better with your articulation, especially when you go fast?
I think it's not necessarily about practicing particular exercises.
Okay.
Because I think even the rhyme that you might write is in itself a tongue twisting exercise, right? So it's more so when I come across these things, I think about, okay, cool, what do I need to do with my mouth in order to execute that?
Yeah.
So in terms of how do I change how I pronounce words?
Yeah.
So, obviously I broke that word up to make it easier to say. I also, sometimes it's about focusing on your consonants. So like really in your mind overemphasizing all the consonants, kind of just like what I just did now, right? When you do that, it's really separates all the words, so it makes it easier to understand them, right? So so it's either that, yeah. So generally with tongue twisters, that would probably be my best advice. Just overemphasize consonants in your mind.
Yeah, I'll see how I can play with that concept when it comes to, let's say, reading the script or voice acting or doing some poem, something. The fact that you were able to pull that from stick with me from statistically and then tick ding and they tickling me, all that stuff. So is it a thing where your brain naturally is like that, or you've had to practice these associations?
Probably an element of both.
Yeah.
I think like naturally my brain works quite quickly. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. Like I don't know if it's like an ADHD thing or what, but my brain will just go. You know, I sometimes have trouble quietening my brain at night, or like keeping track of a conversation that doesn't super interest me straight away. Like, you know, sometimes my mom will be talking, for example, about whatever it is, like, you know, food or something like just mundane, and my brain will just like, it will go. And then, or sometimes I'll be having conversations and something will interest me and the conversation will continue, but my brain will go bing, 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 and connect things. And then I'll blurt out what I'm thinking. And it's like, it's just gone on a complete tangent from, you know, where the conversation originally, you know, was going. And so I think there's an element to which, as I said, like it's, my brain just sort of naturally goes like that. Like it will associate this with this, with this, with this, and start thinking about that in often quite a deep way, or sometimes a very absurd way. I'll make like these really weird connections between things.
You do have ADHD?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So
I don't know. Okay. It's all my ADHD friends tell me that I probably do. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never been, but I do find myself often, like when my ADHD friends will describe things that they're going through, or I'll see things online and I'm like, that kind of tracks.
You know, similar to that. I have friends who are on the spectrum autistically. Yeah. And they keep trying to convince me, like, yo, Michael,
there's a little
something. But the thing is, like, this is almost philosophically, I don't want to get a test. And I don't want to get tested. Not necessarily from a pride or ego thing. I think, like, looking at almost pridefully based on a whole bunch of stuff that I do, right? It would explain that away. And that may be fine, but then I can't necessarily go and advise someone to do a whole bunch of stuff, because they could say, well, Michael, you're able to do that because you're autistic. I don't want that. I want to be able to encourage someone without them thinking like,
I guess it depends on how you view your, you know, or autism, or your particular genre of neurospicy, because
I love that. I love that. The genre of neurospicy. Go on, sorry, Karen.
Because like, it's like, you know, put it this way, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, everyone's different, you know, just because you're creative doesn't mean necessarily that you're autistic or that you have ADHD, although there tends to be a correlation between some of those things. But, you know, we all have our sort of different talents and stuff, and our different dispositions. And I think that you being like, go and do this, and someone telling you, like, I can't do that, and you can only do that because you're autistic. No, you can't do that because you're autistic. You can do that because you're Michael and you had a certain set of talents which predisposed you to a thing, but then also you spent the time learning how to get good at it, you know, like, and that's kind of the element to which, you know, we're all capable of doing lots of things, you know, if you try for long enough. Now, how far you can get at those things, that's also going to be determined by a certain level of pre-existing talent, as well as environmental factors, you know. Do you have the access to the capital to set up a studio like this, for example, in your case, you know? That shouldn't be an excuse of just like, no, you can only do that because you're autistic. No, like, there's so many elements to it of music making that I was not naturally talented at. I'm not a naturally talented songwriter, for example, you know. I was always good at poetry and you know, lyricism, but songwriting is a whole other art, and I had to just keep at that in a very stubborn way until I got good at it, you know. So I say all of this to say, you know, in a very roundabout way,
get tested, you might be autistic.
I don't think you saying I'm autistic takes away from anything that you've accomplished, or adds anything to, you know what I mean? I don't think it's like, you could only do that because you're autistic. No, like, I think there's a whole heap of factors that led into why you could do this, and because of that, in that same vein, there's a whole heap of factors why someone else could do something else, you know?
I hear that. I'm not gonna get tested.
Neither am I. I don't have
The reason is
patience.
I'm just actually just too lazy.
Yes.
I have to go ask my mother. Mother, do you remember me being afraid of this? Do you remember me responding this? I'm not doing that with my mother still.
Yeah.
That's arduous.
Is that what you have to do for the test?
Yeah, because they need to know how you were like when you were a kid.
Really?
How you responded to things.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's long.
You don't remember?
I was a kid. I don't remember these things. I have to go ask my mother. My father's not here anymore. But like that's just
Interesting.
long.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with not being diagnosed, right? It's not affecting my life the type of way.
Yeah, I mean, my only reasoning for
Yeah.
getting diagnosed would be more so to help. Like if there was strategy, if there was things that I was finding difficult, which to be fair, sometimes there are, like
Yeah.
organizationally, sometimes I wonder if I'm efficient as I can be, because the way at least ADHD works, and maybe I think, and this is something that I feel holds true for me, is
Yeah.
I'll be doing one thing and then I don't know, in order to do that thing, I need to go in a different app to do something else.
Yeah.
But then I'll see a notification that makes me like, oh, I need to do
Yeah.
that, right? So then I'll go and do that thing. But then I'm like, oh wait, why was I on this app again? And so I've gone, 3 steps removed from the original thing I wanted to do, and then ended up doing something else, which stopped me from being focusing on the initial thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like strategies to cope with things like that, do you know what I mean? In order to be more efficient, that would be a reason to get diagnosed. But equally, yes, it's also a bit long. I don't know. I mean, look, if you can get diagnosed, go get diagnosed. Don't be like us. But equally, if you don't want to, we understand.
Speaking of tangents, because we're on a massive one.
Yeah.
So you said an interesting line. We had a moment back then about your audience singing your lyrics back to you, right? And that makes me think about you being on stage. And I've seen you perform. I've seen a lot of friends perform where some of them, it's like they're possessed by the spirit of aura of the rock star, of the rapper, and they change and become someone different on stage. I think you have done mostly as you live. You don't necessarily do more when you do more on stage, but as you are right now, you're very charismatic. You have a lot of zeal.
Thank you.
But is that a thing where, did you train for that, or is it just like, you know what, just go loose?
You know what? I have my brother to thank, I think, for my ability to perform on stage. Part of it is naturally how I am. I'm very I have a lot of energy, right?
I'm jealous.
But then on top of which, my brother is an actor, and he helped me to shift how I perceive performances, in the sense of a performance for me is a conversation now. It's like me trying to communicate something to you and responding based on kind of what you give me, and it changes contextually depending on the song. Sometimes I might be like, oh, I'm telling you about a heartbreak, or I'm confessing something to you that I'm ashamed of, or I'm telling you like, look, man, you can overcome this. Like, we're going to get through this together. And, and maybe the energy I'm receiving on the other side is, I'm not sure, or I feel a little awkward, Zoka. And I'm like, nah, like, you got this, and I'll bring you on that journey with me. And so a combination of those two things, of the fact that A, I'm just naturally quite an energetic person, and B, that approach as a conversation, I think creates the experience of me on stage, which is a good time, I think.
I'm trying to become more of a performer this year. Because I keep getting asked to come to these places. And also when I perform things, I don't want to be so monotone. And so I need to be a bit more dramatic. And so I want to learn and take things from my friends who are performers. Like, how did they get on stage and just like switch, and suddenly they got that vibe, they got that charisma, they got that aura. I'm like, give it to me, please. I need it.
You already got it, man. You already got it. Like, you have a natural vibe about you. The thing is, it's like, you don't need to be me, do you know what I mean? In the sense of like super energetic, because that's not necessarily your natural disposition. Your natural disposition is way more, like, there's a soothingness to your voice, and there's also an intensity there, and that draws people in. I sort of go to people. That's my sort of natural disposition, whereas you can kind of draw people in this way. Do you know what I mean?
You're flattering me.
100%. It's facts. It's facts. I believe it wholeheartedly, So I think it's not necessarily about trying to be anything. I think it's more so about just uncovering what you already are and being present. Just be as present as you can be in that conversation. Do you know what I mean?
That. Okay. I do that and people say I'm flirtatious.
Yeah, well, that's probably your natural energy. You're just lying to yourself, you know what I mean? But
That's gonna get me in trouble, you know. I've tried to dial that back down, you know, because fam, I'm not staring at you like I want you. These are just my eyes, you know. I'm just paying attention to you because I'm genuinely curious, and you're saying like I'm flirting. Really, like calm down. Okay.
Do you know what it is? It's probably because people want you to want them. That's, you know what I mean? So they'll project that into your eyes, you know.
Let's move on. Are you gonna get me in trouble?
Did I strike a chord there, Michael?
No, because now if I post this, then that means I'm not. Let's move on. I'll get in trouble if I talk more about that. So words, poetry, performances, songs, and everything, lyrics. Do you have anything that you can talk to us about? Maybe some of you recently written.
Well, I'm currently about to release a song called Familiar Stranger.
Okay.
Which is a song that is all about, I guess, when you recognize parts of yourself that you wish you weren't. I think that's maybe the most concise way I can put it.
Recognize part of yourself that you. One more time.
When you recognize a behavior and you wish you weren't that person, you know.
I hear that. I hear that.
And it's like you want to distance yourself from that person, but also it's there's a familiarity to it because it's still you, you know. But it's the version of you that you've tried to distance yourself from.
That is so interesting. Almost tangentially, like when you notice, it's like when you notice a trait that you don't like in your parents, and you see that in yourself. There's like, wait, I do this as well, and it's like, no, I don't want that. I recognize that, but it should not be there.
Yeah, exactly. But it is there, you know, and that tension between those two things is something that I've been thinking about a lot. It's actually something that I'm funny you mentioned parents, because it's something I'm going to be exploring more widely on my album that I'm also working on, which hopefully should be coming out next year. But very similar thing of, you know, the album has these themes of intergenerational trauma and these traits that get passed down. And recognizing the extent to which, you know, a lot of my virtues and vices are results of similar virtues or opposite virtues or vices in my father and his father, you know, and how that sort of ends up in me, and what do I choose to accept and receive, and what do I choose to try and grow from, you know. But yeah, Familiar Stranger, whilst it's not a song on the album, it's maybe a microcosm of that, without necessarily all the generational stuff, but more so just a very individual look at a person trying to grow from a version of himself that he thought he had already outgrown, but is unfortunately rearing its ugly head.
That sounds very vague. Can you take us through any bit specifically and break it down for us?
Sure thing. So in the second verse, there's a sort of grime switch up where I begin to have to confront this familiar stranger character, this inner demon. And what precipitates that is me saying, so I say, I thought that I'd found my peace, so that girl there found my peace, and now I don't know if the spot that I aimed at is the right place to be. And what I mean by that, there's a few layers of meaning there. So the first line, I thought that I found my peace, refers to not only my inner peace, but an inner peace that is achieved through finding my missing pieces in my partner, right?
I see.
And that sort of sense of security in having found that person is then rocked when someone accesses a different person outside of the relationship, accesses a different part of me, a part of me that's more lewd, a part of me that's more vulgar, or a part of me that I'm more ashamed of, and causes me to sort of maybe stray a little bit internally, you know. And that then precipitates a verse where I confess to a whole heap of other things that I've sort of, you know, done in the past, or that the familiar stranger has done. So this, and then there's the tension between, is this me or is this someone else, is maintained throughout the whole thing. Until I sort of, and I guess I intended it to be this big confrontation with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a particular line that I wanted to talk about as well that I think really epitomizes that. How could I be a man like you? Won't see no arms surrounding me. Then I'm like, wait, who's that? Right? Who's that? The phrase "who's that" is actually a recurring motif throughout the song, and it's again about it alludes to that same sense of like, who's that? Who is that person in the mirror right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know. And again, it's the same thing. It's like, how could I be a man like you, right? Like, it's at once a distancing of me from me, but also like really beginning to reconcile the fact that, wow, like, how could I do these things? Like, how could I be guilty of all these things? And recognizing what is the trigger of these things, which is fundamentally a sense of loneliness. Which is alluded to by the "won't see no arms surrounding me." Then I'm like, wait, who's that?
I think I'm noticing something here as well. I was gonna say your poetry. I mean, your poetry, your lyrics, your music. Is it a way of you also? How you say this? It's like, let's say you're in the dark and you can't see anything. You reach out your hands to like see what exists outside, in a way like you're discovering parts of the world by feeling and touching out. And so you're using, this could be my own weird metaphor, you're using your creativity as a way of also kind of sense out and mapping out all that there is to you. Is that fair for me to say?
100%, yeah, man.
Right.
It's a way of exploring. Sorry, I just realized I should leave some space. 100%. It's a way of me sort of exploring myself. Mapping out the dark corners of my mind, I guess. Very much like the example you gave, it's sort of therapeutic. Writing is a form of therapy for me. That's always how it started. And so it's a way of processing and making sense of how I feel and how my brain works, and all the rest, and life, and how the world works, I guess, how other people work. I make sense of things through writing about them. It allows me to sort of put them, in this song or on a page or in a place that allows a certain sense of catharsis for me.
When it comes to, let's say, your admiration for other musicians, other lyricists and songwriters, have there been any who've written stuff that you're like, yeah, this is some serious lyrics?
I think one that always comes to mind is there's a Jay-Z lyric where he says, and I think it's the economy of words that I was just so impressed with.
Okay.
It's a line from The Story of OJ off his last album, 444. And he goes, "You on the gram holding money to your ear. There's a disconnect. We don't call that money over here." And I was just like, wow. Because
break it down for me.
So throughout the song, you're sort of getting Jay-Z as almost like financial advisor, right? And so there's just, wow. Okay, cool. So first of all, maybe most clearly, he's talking about, the whole money phone trend, right? Of people holding money to their ears. And he's like, all right, cool. He flips that and leans into the phone image and says, okay, there's a disconnect. So the line is disconnected in the phone. We don't call that money over here, as in we don't, make money phone calls over here, right? So layer number 2. Layer number 3 is also saying like, look, that's not real wealth, right? We don't call that money over here. Like that's not wealth to us. And we need to actually be making, as a community, smarter investments, and use our money in more smarter and sustainable ways. And I just thought, like, the fact that he did that in literally, like, it's what, a couplet, and there's that level of that many layers of lyricism is, it was insane to me. I was just like, wow, yeah, like it really changed how I started writing, because then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like you don't always have to or do so much. Like sometimes, something that Jay-Z is incredible at is, he will create like 3 layers of meaning in like just one really innocuous and quite simple phrase. But if you want to peel it back, you can. And I try and do the same thing with my writing.
For real though, I feel like I need to start writing poetry just so I can exercise and try and do this stuff myself. Right, because I get sent lots and lots of poetry, and I'm starting to get bored. Sorry, no offense to you guys, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, can I take all this stuff that people fed me and this stuff that I've heard from you that I know exists out there? Will I be able to craft something that is layered like that?
100%.
But then again, what's that thing that Andre says? Y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. As in, like, the lyrics could be layered and it'd be so perfectly done, but it's like, if people are not dancing to the beat, is it worth the effort? It is.
It's the tension, isn't it, between the two things? It's difficult. Yeah, like Andre 3000 is a good example because, like, Hey Ya, for example, that song is depressing as hell, but none of us are really hearing it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Ah, baby, don't mess around because he loves it. I love that song, but he's can't. I'm mixing the meaning with Miss Jackson, but I guess they're related, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Jackson is probably a lot more. You can tell it's sad-ish.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's inspired, man. I love this. Thank you so much for this conversation, Nick.
No worries at all, man.
I called you Nick again. Dang it, Zoka. I'm sorry, Zoka. We're friends, innit? That's why I got privileges.
Real gang, do you know what I'm saying? That's the homie right here, do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Cool. I appreciate it. So now you've inspired me a little bit.
I'm glad, man.
After you leave, I want to pull out a pen, start writing some stuff, see what I can do. Right.
I mean, and it doesn't even have to be for no one as well, man. Just for you. Do you know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've growled for me already?
Yes.
Right.
Do you want me to finish it on a growl?
Oh, that would be brilliant. See if we can do that for me. Yes.
We've come to the end of the road, and it's time to say goodbye.
Liam, thank you so much.